Hi guys, once again, welcome to the channel. I'm going to give you an update. You probably saw the video that I did where my girlfriend's crashed her Mavic Mini. I'm going to describe what happened on that because I'm trying to get it across to people what not to do. Now, this is hers, and what's happened, as you can see. Let me see if I can get that into focus. She's broke the leg on it. Now, she's extremely lucky, and she's going to be watching this, and she knows how much of a silly sausage that she is, because she didn't do her pre-flight checks, which, as any good drone pilot knows, you always do your pre-flight checks. No matter where you are, do your pre-flight checks. And pre-flight checks, what I mean by that is, when you get your drone and you set it up, you put your phone into the remote, and then you've took your camera cover off, you've set it all up, and you're ready to go. Launch the drone up, let it hover there, and then do your pre-flight checks. Don't send it out away from you until you've done your pre-flight checks, because like what my girlfriend did, she became a bit complacent and she was in a bit of a rush, and it happens to everybody. It's happened to me. I've almost lost my drone through stupidity. What happened was we were at this lake in Macclesfield Forest, and after a good day's flying, you can see on the video the flying that she's done. That was all her flying. That wasn't me. That was her flying. She's getting good at this, but she's just a bit too eager sometimes, and she forgets to do certain things. So on that particular moment, she forgot to do her pre-flight check because she changed location. We went from location to location around Macclesfield Forest, around this reservoir, and she was in amongst the trees, and there's a canopy above us that's kind of extended outwards. Now, when we kind of got there, I've got my drone out, and for anyone who doesn't believe me, it wasn't me flying it, and it wasn't me that crashed, because there's my drone. It's been tucked up safely in bed, still working fine. There's no damage to it. There's her drone, and you can see it's got a poorly leg, which I have ordered the part. I think it was £18.50 for a new leg, and it's an official leg. It's not some aftermarket thing or something that's been 3D printed. It's an official, it's an official leg. £18.50 off eBay. Now, that's probably arriving in the next day or two, fingers crossed. And I'm going to do a video on how to take apart your Mavic Mini and replace one of the legs. That's a video that's going to be coming, so I hope that's going to be informative, because I don't have DJI Care Refresh. I don't have insurance with my drone. I just don't see the point. I don't see the point in having a potential accident and then still having to fork out money. Now, as I say, she's very lucky that she only broke the leg. She could have broke the camera, and until I get this replacement leg fitted in, then, and I do some tests and recalibration to the drone, we'll see if there's any further problems. But back into how this happened. So we've been out, we've been flying around. We're at the side of a lake, and we're kind of set back from the lake under the canopy of the trees. Now, she's got her drone out, I've got mine out, and I've sent mine about half a mile out over the other side of this lake, above the trees in this forest, and I'm doing my thing, and then I hear hers take off. She's flying it out just a little bit, and within 2 minutes of her taking off, she said, oh, there's something wrong, it's not responding. Now, at the time, I'm just kind of like, okay, what's that? What do you mean it's not responding? And then she starts panicking because it's now starting to do its own thing. And after watching the video, I can understand exactly what's happened. She's launched it, took it out, and then not even 2 minutes from launching to being out, I'd say 50 yards away, the drone has then gone into return to home mode. It's turned up, and I'll show you on this video exactly what happened. You've probably seen it, but I'll show you the full version of it. I did download the flight data. I synced it up with the video, not in this because unfortunately I did it in portrait mode. I didn't do it in landscape, so it's not usable footage to put into this video that I'm showing you. So I've synced up the flight data, and I've synced up the footage of what was being shown through her camera, and you can clearly see that the drone's flying out. It's flying out, it's flying out, and then all of a sudden it stops. Now, after 11 seconds, the failsafe kicks in. And what the failsafe is, to all you new people out there, is when there's no control input from you, when you don't put any input into that remote control, and this doesn't receive anything when it's lost signal, after 11 seconds, the drone is going to think, I've had no input. What do I do? And then when you're in the app, if you've selected return to home, then the drone is going to return to home. Now, what you need to do is, in every single situation, is always check, and this is part of your pre-flight check, is always check that your return to home height is higher than the tallest obstacle that you're there. So if you move to a different location, check to see roughly how high it is. And what you can do is just take the drone up, take it to the highest level that you can see. If it's a tree or a building, just kind of estimate, or take the drone up, and then on your app it'll tell you how high you are. So then when you bring it back down, let's say it's 200 feet. So you set on the return to home altitude 230. So you know that if this is 200 feet, your drone is going to go 230 and fly over any obstacles, because we all know that the Mavic Mini doesn't have obstacle avoidance. So as part of your pre-flight, what I'd suggest to do is go onto the app, take your drone off, keep it in front of you, don't send it out, make sure it turns left, make sure it turns right, make sure it goes forwards, back, up, down, and hover it there and watch your propellers, and to see if there's any sort of murmuration, any vibrations, something, a noise, anything. And it takes you what, 10, 15, 20 seconds to do this, and just check that everything's working. Because the last thing you want to do is do what any person has done that hasn't done pre-flight checks and had those accidents. You're going to crash your drone, and it's unlucky that she crashed into the tree, but it's good that the tree saved the drone from the fall. It's hit branches all the way down and it's landed on its leg, and that's the end result, is a broken leg. Now, luckily, it can be replaced for £18.50 off eBay. I think it's King Quad. I'll let you know more about that when it arrives and I start to do the repairs on it. I'm going to film it so you can see that you can do it yourself rather than having somebody else do it. There's people on the internet trying to charge £130 just to take this apart and replace that leg. Now it does take some soldering, but soldering's quite easy. But I can't justify spending 130 quid at sending somebody the drone to fix it when I can do it myself. So what she's done, she's in the canopy and looking back and analysing that video. She's raised the drone up, and on the app she's not waited to get the full satellite coverage, which is a minimum of 11 satellites, and you can see on your app, on the Fly app, when it's at 8, 9, 10, it starts going from red to amber, and then it'll kick in on 11, and the satellite picture icon will go white, and that's when you'll hear the lady on the voice on the app saying, home point has been updated, please check it on the map. Now that's when you get full satellite coverage. I think she got that initially, but because she was sat under the trees, there was very limited signal. Now I was exactly where she was and I wasn't getting any signal on mine, so I've moved further out away from the canopy, so I've got clear signal coming to my phone and my remote, because the signal, the GPS signal, is going to your phone. Your phone is then patched into the remote and it's then sending a signal to the drone. Now if you lose that signal on your phone, there's no GPS signal that's going to this drone. So you need to be in an area that is got full satellite coverage, which is a minimum of 11 satellites. If you've not got 11 satellites, then don't send it out. And generally I think it only goes out to about 98 feet before it gives you a warning saying maximum distance reached, or maximum altitude has been reached, because you've not got the correct satellite coverage, which is a minimum of 11. So she got that initially, but then when she started sending it out, she lost it again because she was still sat under the canopy. Now she sent it out, she's lost that signal, and she's lost it for at least 11 seconds, to the point where the drone has then gone into fail-safe mode. No input for 11 seconds. This thing is going to do what it's programmed to do, and it's going to turn around, raise up, and then start flying back. And it will fly back, it will raise up to the altitude that you set it. So if you set it below the tree line, it's going to come back and it's going to do exactly what my girlfriend's did and crash into the trees. So that's what's happened to hers. I think she's learned a valuable lesson from it. Sweetheart, I know you're going to be watching this video, and I know that you've learned from this, because I've kind of grilled you about it many times, why this happened, and I think she understands now. To all the viewers that are watching this, I think she understands now why you need to do your pre-flight checks every time you change a location. Do a compass calibration. Every once in a while do an IMU, because the IMU is a calibration from the controls, the input on the controls, and make sure that what you do is calibrated to the drone precisely. And sometimes they can uncalibrate themselves, so you might be going forward and it might be going off to the right. So you always need, every once in a while, to do an IMU recalibration. But every time you change location, it takes you 10-20 seconds to just do a compass calibration. All you need to do is, spin it round, or turn around yourself one way, hold it up, turn it round, calibration successful, you're good to go. I always do this. Now I'll tell you a little story about how I almost lost my drone. twice in fact. Well, I'd say once, but the first time I was in Blackpool, and I was filming on outside the Blackpool Tower, and it was quite a breezy day. Now in Blackpool there's about a 500 foot height restriction. Now, yes, I do fly above the legal thingy, you know, the legal height, but I'm not stupid with it. I don't just go and fly my drone near airports or way above what I should be doing. I kind of just push it above and that's it. On the occasion, I've gone a bit higher. We all do it. There's tons of videos on YouTube. It doesn't necessarily make it right, but we all do it. I've then flown up to about 490 feet just to get that shot of Blackpool Tower. As I started raising up, I could see the drone drifting backwards towards out to sea. Now, I've flown drones many times before, nothing of this size, the small ones that you take that out, and if a duck farts, it's going to blow it away. So I've been flying the Hubsan X4, I've had 3 of them. And any kind of wind, they're just going to blow away because they're so small. And my experience from flying those drones is, as soon as you take it up and it starts drifting, it's entering an airspace where there's a lot of wind. Down below it can be calm and it can kind of shuffle about a bit, it can be like this, but as soon as you send it up, then it starts blowing away. The obvious thing is just to do a reverse of what you've done and bring it back down, get it out of that airstream so it's not flying away. And luckily, when I was doing the Manchester rooftops video, I think it was, I was stood next to the cathedral, and it was quite a sort of blustery day when it was about 20-30 feet high. You can see on some of the videos it's a bit blustery. Now, there's a thing that's called rotor, which is the wind that comes over the buildings. And I've learnt this from doing paragliding. You know, I've been training in paragliding a few years ago, and I've been studying it more because I'm still wanting to get into paragliding. Now, if you've got a hill and the wind is coming straight up that hill, that's going to be a straight airstream, and as soon as it gets over the tops of the hill, that's when it starts turning into rotor and turbulent air. Now, if you're in the city, you're going to get the wind that's blowing over those buildings, but there's going to be so much rotor and so much turbulent air that's what caught hold of my drone. Below the building, you know, the wall and the roof, it was fine. It was a bit blustery, but as soon as I went up, it was fine. But then a gust of wind came in, and maybe that gust of wind created some turbulent air, that rotor that we call it, and it started drifting away. It was drifting away, and then all of a sudden I've lost sight of it because it's gone behind the building that was near me. Now, I'm trying to pull it back, it's not responding, so the first thing I'm going to do is drop it down. Now, because I can't see it and I can't see what's round that corner, I was quite scared. So the first thing I've done is hit the return to home, because I've already set the height for the tallest building that's in my area. I lost signal and I lost sight for about 20 seconds, and then all of a sudden everything kicks back in on the phone. The video comes back in, the live feed. I can see what it's doing. It's coming back and it's struggling, because at one point it was just stationary. But it's stationary, but it's being pushed back, and it's constantly trying to fight against that wind that's pushing it. And when the gust of wind dies, then it's going to have more of a chance. But it's going to have more of a chance if you start bringing it down and forward. But be careful, bring the camera down to see what's below you, which is what I did. I saved my drone, it's still here, but These things can happen to anybody. Anybody can suffer wind and a bit of a blowaway. Now, I'm very mindful now of what not to do when it's in a slightly windy, gusty condition. I can still fly it, but just be really mindful that there's always the potential that if you lose signal, you can potentially lose that drone. Now, my girlfriend said to me, well, why don't you just put it into hover mode? And the only problem with putting it into hover mode is, just imagine for a moment, you fly your drone out and you've got perfect line of sight. Now all of a sudden you push it and you push it. The higher you go, the better line of sight that you've got. But if you're keeping it just above the rooftops, then it's going to lose that. You're going to lose that vision, or that line of sight. So if you go higher, you're going to maintain visual line of sight. Now obviously you can't go above 400 feet. If you send it out too far, you're going to lose that signal. And the problem is, I found with my experience is, from my house I sent it about a mile out. This was my first time testing it, and I lost signal. Now thankfully after 11 seconds I was crapping myself. I didn't know what to do. It's like, oh my god, I'm going to lose this drone. And then after about 10, maybe 20 seconds, everything kicked back in again. I got the signal. I could see that the drone was coming back. I've already set it to about 300 feet altitude on a return to home. But let's just say it's out there and you've lost that signal, and then you decide on the app, prior to you taking off and sending it out, to hover. When that's had no input for 11 seconds, it's fail safe. It's not return to home, it's hover. So it's going to hover. It's just going to stay there. Now, when it's got GPS, when it's got the 11 satellites, it maintains its position because it's got the GPS on it. But as soon as it's not got GPS, even do it in the house, if you've not got GPS, this thing will drift wherever it wants to go. There's nothing you can do about it. It will drift and it starts slowly going towards the wall, so you've got to pull it back a bit and recenter it into the room. But it's always trying to drift wherever it wants to go. Now, that's because it's got no satellite link. There's no GPS on it. Now, if you lose that GPS to your phone to the remote, which then sends that signal to the drone, if that drone has lost that signal, then it's going to go into ATI mode. And if you put it on hover, then basically it's going to be, let's say, 200-300 feet in the air, a mile away, and it's hovering with no GPS. So then it's in ATI mode, and if there's any wind, it's just going to blow. It's going to blow your drone away. And that's one of the problems with flyaways, is loss of signal, loss of putting the wrong input into the app prior to this. So this is why I say always do your pre-flight checks. It's imperative. It's paramount to keeping the drone safe and well and getting it back after a good long flight, wherever and whatever it is that you're doing. Check on the app, check the factor that it turns left, it turns right, it goes up, down, forwards, backwards. Make sure your return to home is set. Unless you know the area, I would never put it on hover, and I would never do a forced landing or do a return to home. You've got three options: return to home, hover, and land. I'd always have it on return to home. Maybe I'd have it on hover, maybe I'd have it on land, but only if I know where that area is and what's around there, just in case. But always as a fail-safe, keep it on return to home and make sure that your return to home altitude is set higher than the tallest obstacles around you, because it's going to fly as the crow flies. It's not going to come back exactly the way it's gone. It's just going to stop, turn around, raise up, and then start flying back from point A to point B. Now, if you've not set your return to home, it's going to crash into whatever it sees, whatever it comes across, basically. So that's what happened to my girlfriend's drone. She didn't do pre-flight checks. She got a bit complacent, and that's the end result. Now, thankfully, it's only going to cost her, what, 40 quid, because I've had to buy a new soldering kit, and the arm cost £18.50. So I'll show you the video now as to what happened. You could judge for yourself. Most people that have seen the video and they've commented on the video, they know straight away. They know exactly what it is, that the return to home altitude wasn't set right. So that's my message to you. Always do a pre-flight check. Make sure your drone controls are working. Make sure your compass is calibrated. And every once in a while do an IMU, which is just a calibration from the control sticks to make sure that they're calibrated right. So whatever it is you're doing is reflected into this drone. And if you change to a new location, do a brand new compass calibration. That's all I can say. Have a watch of the video, see for yourself. That's all I'm going to say on the matter. I will do an update on this. As and when the part comes, I'm going to record fixing this drone, and I hope it helps. At the moment, it's too windy in Manchester. It's terrible weather in Manchester all the time, pretty much, known as the rainy city. But there's not going to be much time at the moment for flying because the weather is just abysmal. I work a lot, and it's trying to find a right day to have the time off, have decent flyable weather, and go out, because I'm going to have to redo a lot of my other videos because I'm filming everything in 4K now. So I'm going to be redoing my other videos because I want better quality. And part of the problem on the Mimo app is when you get a large file and you compress it, it gets that compression, gets compression artifacts. Now when you upload it to YouTube, YouTube has its standard uploading bitrate, which for large files, it's not compatible. So it compresses the file down. So it's kind of running at their bitrate, which when I do my editing on 4K, I've got my bitrate set to 100, which I think YouTube is probably about 50 or 60 as the bitrate, and it's just not enough. So it compresses the file down, it becomes pixelated, and you lose a lot of the clarity. So I'm going to go out, I'm going to refilm most of Manchester again, get that 4K quality, and yes, it is a 2.7K resolution drone, but on Adobe Premiere Pro you can upscale it to 4K, and it's not true 4K, but it's as close to it as you can get. So anyone who's asking on the comments, how do you get 4K video out of a 2.7K drone? It's like, well, the software that I'm editing, I can upscale it to 4K, but I can upscale it to 4K because I've got all the settings for the export. When I edit a video and it's final, and then I go to export it, all my settings on the software have been tailored to accommodate a 4K video that's going up onto YouTube. Be mindful of that as well, that if you're doing videos on the Mimo or the Fly app, that when you upload it onto YouTube, make sure it's not a big file size. And if it is, edit it on a laptop with Adobe Premiere Pro or some kind of software that allows you to change the settings, so when you export it, it's got the right bitrate and all those number changes and things. So when you throw it up onto YouTube, YouTube does its thing and it stays up there in the same quality that you filmed it in. if not better, because it's in 4K. Now I've set mine as a YouTube preset. I don't need to change all these numbers and these sort of calibrations to export a video. I've saved it as a YouTube preset, so when I do my video I just click on that, apply the YouTube preset to my video, and then just click on export, and it takes about, to render a video in 4K takes about, for half an hour it takes about 5-6 hours to render a 4K video that's 30 minutes, and then you're talking about 4 hours to upload it onto YouTube. That's how long it takes. And then once it's up on YouTube, it can take up to about 2 hours for it to actually process the video into 4K, so you're getting the full resolution. And one of the problems on YouTube is when you do upload a video, it does it in its own little basic standard thing, so it's up to you to edit these videos and so on. I'm kind of waffling now, but at the end of the day I'm just trying to teach you guys how to edit your videos, make your videos, and fly your drone in a safe manner, so you're going to get your drone back and get that good decent quality footage that you want, because it's a 2.7K resolution drone and the resolution's brilliant. You can't fault it. It's not 4K, but it's 2.7 and it's fantastic. And the last thing you want to do is to go out flying, edit a video on something, and then it get compressed and then uploaded onto YouTube, and then it jerks. There's so much that you can learn from watching photography videos, videography videos, bit rates, frame rates, all this other stuff that will just enhance your skill set into producing good quality video using ND filters. Type in ND filters, what they're used for, blah blah blah, and learn about that. Learn about editing and bit rates and frame rates, and how using these and changing them in the software can affect the quality of your video. So all this is to come. I'm going to explain all this. I've just got so much stuff to catch up on. The reason I'm going out back into Manchester to refilm most of Manchester is because all the videos of the Manchester rooftop videos, apart from the 4K one, I want to put my footage up as stock footage, and it means cutting all my videos down to like 30-second clips. Now those 30-second clips have got to be perfectly smooth and perfectly cinematic, you know, doing things that not many people see. Anyone can get a camera and go and film something, but you've got to try and find something that not many people have done. So flying around, you know, I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube where someone's flying the drone. It's like, yeah, I'll stop. Oh, what's that? Like, I look down, look up, and it's like, oh, what's this? I look down, I look there. That's all very well and good. It's not my cup of tea, and I've got no interest in watching that because YouTube's inundated with that stuff. I want to make top quality professional videos, and I'm still in the very early stages, but I'm not going to make a video where I'm going to show every single movement of the drone and the camera. It's like, oh, what's down there? All right, nothing interesting. Look up, turn away. Oh, what's up there? What's down there? I don't want to see all that. And if that's the videos that you want to make, good luck to you. I'm trying to make perfectly good quality cinematic videos where you're getting such nice cinematic shots, and it's all about the skill of flying the drone. And my girlfriend's getting to that stage now. She's getting really good at it. It just so happens that she's become a little bit complacent sometimes, and it can happen to any of us. It can happen to the best of us. But I implore you, do your pre-flight checks. That's all I'm going to say about this. You know now what happened, why she crashed the drone, and hopefully she'll not do it again. enjoy the video that I'm going to put up. You'll see exactly what happened. I hope this has helped. I hope you fly safe, and I hope you get your drones back if you start losing them in some way, but you shouldn't lose them if you do your pre-flight checks and you take it with a very healthy approach to flying, because it's small, it's lightweight, and like I say, if a duck farts, it's going to blow it out. So be careful, be mindful, do all your checks, do all your calibrations, and you should be good to go. Most of these flyaways are pilot error. New people coming into the hobby, they go out, it's like, oh, I want a drone, I'm going to get a Mavic Mini because it's so affordable. They get it and they think, oh, I've seen videos on YouTube where people do range tests, I'm going to fly it right out, and they lose it. It's Facebook forums is just inundated with people about having flyaways or certain problems, and it's a lot of it's down to pilot error. So learn the app, learn how to fly the drone in a comfortable environment before you start doing things that's out of your skill set. I know how to fly these because I've been flying small quadcopters that don't have GPS. You've got to actively pilot these things. The minute that you let go of these small drones like the Hubsan X4, that thing's going to fly away or it's going to fall out of the sky, because you've got to actively pilot. Actively pilot them means that you've got to be constantly in control. These things, they're designed to stay where they are. GPS lock, all that stuff, the drone's doing half the work for you. So unless you put some stupid input into the remote and the app, then you know you're going to lose your drone. So do your research on the app, study it, learn every aspect, watch videos on YouTube. It helps. Take baby steps and then start progressing further out, and the more you learn, the easier it's going to become, and the less chance you've got of losing your drone or crashing it into a tree like my girlfriend did. Sweetheart, I love you. I'm sorry you crashed your drone. It's going to get fixed in the next week, so you're going to get your baby back. Thank you guys for watching. That's everything. That's been a massive rant. I'll see you on the next one, and I'll give you an update when I go and fix this. So be safe. Thanks for watching. I appreciate the likes, I appreciate the comments. If you're going to buy any gear, like Mavic Mini or the Osmo Pocket or any of the accessories, check on the links below. Every single one of my videos, there's links below for gear to buy. If you do, they're affiliate links because I'm an Amazon and a DJI affiliate now. So if you want to help my channel and you want to help me, I get a small commission for any of the sales that are made via the links that you click on. It helps my channel grow. All the money that comes in is not going to be spent on beer or whatever. I don't drink, you know. All the money that I get from my channel goes back into the channel so I can expand it and grow it and be more informative to you guys, because I want to help you guys and I want to help my channel grow. Thanks ever so much. I appreciate your likes, I appreciate your subscriptions and all the kind comments. Thank you very much. See you on the next one. Have a good one.